This here is the LitSystems. On paper, it's a pretty ambitious device, exposure metering, color temperature, spectrum readings with SSI, TLCI, and TM30, flicker detection, illuminance, all combined into this one small unit. It was originally crowdfunded on Kickstarter and it finally started shipping around October 2025. According to the makers LitSystems, the retail price will be about €849, approximately $1,000, though early backers like me got it for €514, about $600. I've had it for about a week plus and even compared it directly with the reference meter, the Sekonic C-800, which I don't have today, a light meter that is about 1.5 times the price of the LitSystems. And today, I want to walk you through what works, what doesn't yet, and whether or not this new light meter is worth considering. When it comes to build quality, the LitSystems feels really well made. The device has a CNC milled aluminum front and a plastic back, and I would say it feels pretty solid for its price. It's compact, pocketable, and runs on 3 AAA batteries, but you can also use a USB-C port on the side for firmware updates or even for charging if you're using NIMH rechargeable cells. Now, I'll be honest, I was expecting something like an AMOLED touch screen. I kind of wish it would have one, but at first I was slightly disappointed. Even from the notes, LitSystems already made it clear it wouldn't. But once I compared it side by side with the Sekonic C-800, that disappointment faded. You actually want something that can withstand heavy use on production sets, so at this point I'll say the screen is good enough. I do wish it was touch sensitive, but at the same time I get why they went for physical buttons. The menu design is modern and the UI is quite decent. You can navigate using the physical buttons. There's a directional pad with green and blue buttons for moving through the menus and that big orange button on the side for taking readings. It's very straightforward and I like that. There's also a 1/4-20 thread at the bottom, which is great if you want to mount it on a stand or grip arm while testing light. As you may already notice, there are 2 sensors, a dome-shaped one and a flat one. So this light meter is designed as an all-in-one light meter that combines multiple measurement functions, including exposure metering for both ambient and flashlight. You can measure the light at the subject incident reading using its dome sensor or the flat sensor that can be selected for measuring light intensity and contrast. This functionality covers the different principles of light measurement beyond just incident light. So I'll quickly go through the menu of the LitSystems. I have a camera here in frame so you can see what I'm doing. Once you power it on, I'll power it off, and to power it on, you press the button there and instantaneously it comes on, shows you the battery level, fully charged batteries I have in there. So we're in luminance and I can quickly take a reading by pressing that and it should be the last reading once I turn it on. So this is my current reading at the way it's facing the light. So to go back, I can just press the green button to go into menu and I can go into cine mode, photo mode, photo video mode, photo flash, color temp, spectrum, and then click back to go back up. We've seen illuminance. I'll scroll down to cine mode, press the green button, and I can take my reading, and that's what I get. I can press the 3 dotted lines there or buttons there. So I can choose to use the dome or the flat sensor, and I can come down, change my offset, whatever I want to do, ND8, come down. That's it for now. And I can go right to select narrow angle, or go back to the wide angle and then X. So I can come back again by pressing menu. If I go into luminance, I can press the 3 buttons to change the unit. So far, this is what we have, lux and foot candles, if that's what you prefer. I'll go back and go back into menu, come down into photo video mode, and I can adjust whatever I want to adjust, click my measurement and see how quickly it measured. Can come in down, change my ISO, go into the 3 dots, change what I want to change. If I want to go back, press menu and go into photo flash, same thing, take my reading. I think in photo flash it's continuous. I'm not a photographer, or photography is not what I mainly do, so I think it's in continuous mode in when you're in the photo or in the flash menu. So I'll click menu again to come out of that, and I'll go into color temperature. And if I go into the color temperature, I can test get my color temperatures and readings. I press the orange button. Takes a while to calculate, and that's it. So 5100 Kelvin, that's the green magenta correction. There's nothing more. If I scroll down, press the 3 dotted lines, and I can change the unit from DUV. I can have it in CCI, CC hash, or plus minus green correction. And I go back again, X again, go into menu, and go into spectrum, which is the last one we have there. Click OK. I can take my reading and I'll see the color spectrum once it's done calculating. It's pretty quick. So I have 5100, which is different from the previous reading I got, and the tint is -1/8 on the green side. And I have my XY. I can scroll down to see my exposure, or 222 lux. I can press the 3 dotted or the blue button. I can go into change my unit, go back, go into tint, click, and change whatever I want to change. If I wanted that, but I like it this way, can go back again, click X, and that's basically it for the menu interface. But before that, you can go into the settings, the engine gear-like icon, press the blue, and I can activate or deactivate Bluetooth or turn it on. Go back, it's activated. If I go back, you can see it's already activated. I can click disconnected. I've already paired this with my mobile phone. I can go into continuous measuring, activate that, but obviously you'll be using more battery. I can go into display brightness, set it to auto. I have it at minimum to save battery. I have medium and maximum. Let me show you how maximum is. So that's how bright maximum is. I'll go back to minimum for now. Go out of it. You can change your battery types, alkaline if that's what you're using. I'm using NIMH batteries, or you can choose lithium if that's what you have. I'll go back again. I'll go into battery charging, activate battery charging if I want. I'll leave it on because that's what I want. I'll go down this advanced settings, click OK, and you can choose it to always display the last screen you were in. There's auto power off and on. You can set it to maybe 1 minute, 5 minutes. It's okay. I usually just power off my device myself. You can go into tune exposure as you want. For now, I'll just leave it at 0. Go back. Tune illuminance if that's what you want. For now, leave it that way. And you have device info and regulatory info. And you can factory reset it if that's what you want. And that's it basically for the menu. You can see the Bluetooth icon is up there, is activated to show me that it's on and connected. And I'll just power off the device. And that's how quickly it powers off. I'll power it on again to show you how quickly it comes on again. And that's how quickly the device powers on. Now, for real-world testing and accuracy, this is where things start to get interesting. I tested a few of my lights with LitSystems, checking luminance and color accuracy at both 5600 Kelvin and 2800 Kelvin. And this is where I started getting a little concerned about the device. For example, I tested my Godox LE300BI for luminance. Godox claims that the LE300BI should produce about 59,000 lux at a distance of 1 meter. But the LitSystems was giving me readings around 77,000 lux at 5600 Kelvin. That's quite a big jump, and it made me question the calibration of this unit straight away. So I decided to look at color temperature accuracy next. At 5600 Kelvin, I was getting readings at average between 5090 and 5180 Kelvin, which is noticeably lower than expected. When I moved to the warmer tones around 3200 Kelvin, I was averaging around the 3094 Kelvin mark, which was actually much closer to being accurate. Then I tried testing with my eye footage lights, which are generally expected to be more color accurate. Gerald Undone confirmed this in his own test, but even then, I wasn't getting results as close as I'd hoped in the higher Kelvin range. I did the only reasonable thing. I contacted LitSystems to explain what I was seeing, and honestly, I have to say their customer service is excellent. I sent over my device serial number and they checked it out for me. They confirmed that my unit was properly calibrated, but they advised me to try comparing with another professional grade meter to cross-check. So that's exactly what I did. I rang up CVP and they were kind enough to let me come in and test the LitSystems against the Sekonic C-800. I ran several tests there under different lighting conditions. under warmer light around 3200 Kelvin, the LitDio1 actually performed very well. The readings were very close between the Sekonic and Lit, both in color temperature and luminance. But now, under cooler or more blue shifted lights like at 5600 Kelvin, the reading started to drift. The LitDio1 tended to show slightly warmer values than what the Sekonic recorded. So right now, it's close to accurate in warmer tones, but less so in the blue spectrum. And this behavior was consistent with both luminance and color temperature readings. I fed all of this back to LitSystems again, and they explained that the blue spike inaccuracy is likely due to the current firmware, not the hardware itself. They said they're already working on improving spectral accuracy through firmware updates, and according to them, the updated mathematics would allow the meter to detect and interpret those blue spikes more precisely. They already have the method, but implementing it properly takes time. They also confirmed that my unit doesn't need recalibration, it's just a software refinement issue. Apparently, they made a decision to start shipping units earlier and continue refining the equations as feedback comes in from early users. They also mentioned that gaffers on set didn't find the blue shift problematic for workflow, which is why they prioritized getting the hardware out first. If you also check the mobile app LitConnect, there's a roadmap section that shows where firmware updates and all will come to both the Lit OS and the Lit app. Now, what do you guys think about that? Do you prefer when a company ships early and updates later, or would you rather they hold back until everything is perfect? Let me know your thoughts there in the comments, because I'm curious what you think about that approach. When it comes to usability, I'm still not entirely sure whether to call the light meter fast or average. I'll lean more on the fast side. At CVP, when I was testing different aperture lights with both the Sekonic C-800 and the LitDio1, I noticed something interesting. The LitDio1 actually edged out the Sekonic slightly in terms of responsiveness. The Sekonic takes a while to boot up and then goes through its calibration before it's ready. With the LitDio1, the power on process is instant, as you've seen. It feels like the device is just waiting for you to just press that power button. When you hit the orange button to take a reading, it takes a brief moment to calculate, but it's quick enough for real world use. Navigating the interface is also easier on the LitDio1. The Sekonic in comparison feels a bit too technical for my liking. It's a bit too cumbersome. Lots of menus, lots of parameters. The LitDio1 keeps things simple. The buttons are tactile and easy to use, especially if you're working on set outdoors where touchscreens can be finicky. According to LitSystems roadmap, which you can see in the LitConnect mobile app, an update is coming where via Bluetooth connectivity, you'll be able to take readings remotely and store them on your phone. That's a nice modern touch and something I'm genuinely looking forward to testing when it's released. Now let's talk about the pros and cons of this device. For the positives, the LitDio1 is truly an all-in-one device that covers exposure, color, spectrum, flicker metering, and more. It has a solid build quality, it's compact, and it features a very modern interface that's easy to navigate. It also offers great value if you're someone who needs multiple metering functions in one single device. And it has some really promising video-centric features like flicker detection and spectral mode that should become even more powerful once the firmware matures. When you compare these light meters to something like the Sekonic C-800, I honestly think the pricing is very competitive. You're getting a lot of functionality at a much lower price point. As of the time of making this video, certain features like SSI, TLCI, and TM30 are still not fully unlocked, which means you can't yet get the full specification performance that's been promised. In my test, the accuracy for cooler or blue tone color and temperatures wasn't quite there yet to the Sekonic, and as mentioned earlier, there's no spot metering. You're limited to incident readings. Finally, because this is a relatively new crowd-funded product, the software and ecosystem are still being refined. That's not necessarily a deal breaker, but it's something to keep in mind. So, who is this device for? The LitDio1 is a very promising tool. It's compact, modern, and genuinely useful, especially for filmmakers and gaffers who need quick, accurate readings on set. Right now, I think it's best suited for filmmakers, cinematographers, gaffers, and photographers who want a single device that can handle most with their metering needs and who don't mind being early adopters while firmware continues to mature. If your work relies heavily on blue spectrum accuracy, or if you need fully reliable SSI and TLCI analysis today, I'd probably suggest waiting for the next firmware update. But overall, I'd rate the Elite 1 a solid 7 out of 10. Maybe a 6. Full of potential but not fully polished yet. Once the firmware updates land and those color temperature equations are refined, this could absolutely challenge or even outperform those expensive meters like the Sekonic C-800, C-7000. It's very promising, a strong piece of gear that just needs a bit more development time. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this review of the Elite 1 and found it helpful, please give it a like, subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell. I'll definitely be doing a follow-up test once the firmware update arrives and we can finally try out the SSI, TLCI and TM30 readings properly. You'll find links in the description if you'd like to learn more about the Elite 1 or LitSystems, the company behind this light meter. And I'd really like to hear what you think. Will you be picking up one, or are you sticking with something like the Sekonic for now? Drop your comments below. Until next time, keep your lights consistent and your exposure nailed in. This is your Filmmaker. God bless and peace.